the architect of hope. How one man's dream built a sanctuary. Have you ever seen a dream so vivid, so all-consuming, that it transcends the boundaries of possibility? In the sun-drenched alleys of a forgotten town, where whispers of despair often drowned out the echoes of hope, lived a man named Idris. He wasn't a scholar, nor a merchant of great wealth. Idris was a basket weaver. His days were spent hunched over reeds, his hands crafting simple vessels that fetched him just enough to survive. His home was a single room, sparse and humble, but his heart was a cathedral of dreams. The town, though teeming with life, lacked a central place of worship that truly served its people. The old prayer hall, a makeshift structure cobbled together decades ago, groaned under the weight of its aging timbers and the sheer number of devotees. During Friday prayers, hundreds spilled out onto the dusty street, performing their prostrations under the searing sun or chilling rain. Idris watched this scene unfold day after day, his spirit aching. He saw the elderly struggle, the children exposed, and a deep conviction began to take root within him. This town needed a proper mosque, a sanctuary worthy of its faith. The idea, when it first sparked, felt like a foolish flame in a hurricane. Idris, with his meager earnings and calloused hands, was building a mosque. It was laughable, impossible. Yet, the vision refused to fade. It became his waking thought, his nightly prayer. He saw the minarets rising, the dome gleaming, the spacious prayer hall filled with the devout. This wasn't just a building. It was a beacon for his community, a place of peace and unity. One sweltering afternoon, as Idris sorted reeds by the river, he saw an old woman struggling to cross a rickety wooden bridge. Without a second thought, he set down his basket and helped her across, his strong grip steadying her frail frame. Gratefully, she offered him a small, tarnished silver coin. It was more than he usually earned in half a day. As he held it, something clicked. This wasn't just money, it was a beginning. From that day forward, Idris's life revolved around two things: weaving baskets and nurturing his impossible dream. He began to save every single coin that wasn't essential for his survival. He ate less, wore his clothes until they patched themselves, and walked everywhere, keeping even the smallest fare. He set aside a special, beautifully woven basket, large and sturdy, and into it went his daily offerings. A few coins, a handful of dried dates he couldn't bring himself to eat, sometimes even a prayer written on a scrap of paper. His neighbors, noticing his extreme frugality, grew concerned. "Idris, are you unwell?" they'd ask. "You barely eat." He would smile, a serene glow in his eyes. "I am building something, my friends," he would say, "something for all of us." They would nod, puzzled, attributing it to his quiet, contemplative nature. Months stretched into years. The basket, once light, now held a surprising weight. It wasn't enough to build a mosque, not by a long shot, but it was something. It was tangible proof of his unwavering commitment. During this time, Idris also began to speak of his dream, cautiously at first, then with growing confidence. He spoke to the imam, to the village elders, to anyone who would listen, not asking for help, but simply sharing his vision. He described the mosque, its purpose, and the peace it would bring. Many listened politely, some with pity, a few with a glimmer of understanding. One evening, a visiting scholar, renowned for his wisdom and compassion, found himself in Idris's humble dwelling, seeking shelter from an unexpected storm. He observed Idris's worn hands, his simple life, and the large, carefully guarded basket. Curious, he asked about it. Idris, for the first time, poured out his heart, recounting his dream, his savings, and the burning desire to build a mosque for his people. The scholar listened, his eyes twinkling with admiration. "Idris," he said, "your faith is a mountain, and your actions are the drops of water that carve it. This is a noble endeavor." The scholar, deeply moved, shared Idris's story with his vast network. He spoke of the humble weaver, the untouched basket of savings, and the dream that refused to die. News of Idris's impossible dream began to spread beyond the small town. Travelers, merchants, and even distant philanthropists heard the tale of the poor basket weaver. Inspired by his sincerity and devotion, donations began to arrive. Not just money, but building materials, tools, and offers of skilled labor. A prominent architect, hearing the story, volunteered to draw up plans, captivated by the purity of Idris's intention. The town, initially incredulous, was now swept up in a tide of communal spirit. Sheikh Omar, a wealthy landowner who had always seemed distant, came forward and donated a large plot of land perfectly situated for the new mosque. This land, he declared, is for Idris's dream, for the legacy of his faith. Suddenly, the impossible was becoming possible. The construction site buzzed with activity. Masons laid bricks with precision, carpenters shaped wood with care, and laborers, many of whom were neighbors and friends, worked tirelessly, fueled by the collective vision. Idris himself was everywhere, not as a supervisor, but as an active participant. He carried stones, mixed mortar, and learned every aspect of construction, his hands now scarred by bricks instead of reeds. He was often the first to arrive and the last to leave, his presence a constant source of inspiration. After what seemed like an eternity of effort, but in reality, just under 3 years, the mosque stood complete. It wasn't ostentatious, but it was magnificent in its simplicity and strength. Its white walls gleamed under the sun, its elegant minaret pointed skyward, and its spacious prayer hall invited all. On the day of its grand opening, the entire town, along with visitors from far and wide, gathered. The air vibrated with excitement and gratitude. As the first azan, strong and clear, rang out from the new minaret, a hush fell over the crowd. Tears flowed freely, not just from joy, but from the profound realization of what faith, perseverance, and community could achieve. Idris, the humble basket weaver, stood among the congregation, tears streaming down his face. He didn't seek applause or recognition. As the prayers began, he simply prostrated himself, a silent testament to the boundless grace of his Creator and the extraordinary power of a dream. He had built not just a mosque, but a sanctuary of hope, a lasting legacy of faith for generations to come. Are you inspired by Idris's unwavering faith and monumental achievement? What impossible dream whispers in your heart? Take that first small step today, just like Idris did with his tarnished silver coin. Your belief, coupled with consistent effort, can build miracles.